We are now starting the DPS duo tier list. Chat, if you want to do this tier list yourself, you can do !tier list, like it is in the title, and also people who watch this on YouTube. It'll be in the description down below, actually, the link. I actually put it on the tier maker website now. So we're starting off with the Atlanta Reign. Kai and Pelican, or previously KSP and Pelican. I instantly want to rank these guys A tier. Hopefully they actually do it because they're on the Atlanta Reign now. I think Kai is one of the best hits game players in the league. He could potentially be S tier. Probably is S tier for some people. He showed consistent performances, especially high performances, all Overwatch League season long. He instantly helped the LA Valiant as soon as he joined the team. Then you have Pelican coming in for a replacement over Erster. And I think Pelican, and also, who was the other player? Someone else, Saucy, I guess now. But Pelican, one of the better players, hopefully coming into the league as a rookie, because he's shown it in contenders for a long time now. One of the better rookies coming out of the contenders. And I hope he does prove himself on this team. Honestly, this is the only really good part of Atlanta Reign is the DPS line, because they're kind of proven already, especially Kai. So I'm excited to see how this DPS duo works out. I think it will work out and be like one of the only best parts of the team on Atlanta, I think, for sure. Hopefully it is. Then on to the Boston Uprising. I'm 37 and Valentine, which I think is going to be interesting, because when I watched the Steel Series tournament, which honestly may have some impact to this tier list, maybe a little bit, not a lot. I'm 37 looked alright. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of scrim time, so maybe it's not the best to actually critique it. But Valentine looked good in the tournament, the Steel Series tournament. I'm 37 looked solid at some points. Didn't look the best consistently, but he was still really good. My gut's telling me put him B right now, because Valentine has potential. We haven't seen him in the league yet. I'm 37. Not really best to talk about his Toronto Defiant days. I really want to put him B right now, but I could see myself moving him down to C. But here's the thing. C may not be that bad. Like, the league is so stacked. Like, look at all the DPS players we have right here. Like, it is a stacked year. So there may not be anyone in D. The same thing goes to F. So I'm 37 and Valentine going to be stacked. I see all of y'all talking about B as well. Let's go ahead and jump into the next one, Chengdu Hunters, which I think is going to be a pretty underrated duo coming in. You have Leave, who could look better next season. And you have Kaneki, who looked top tier in the Shanghai Master Tournament. And he impressed me a lot, and also for a lot of other people. But the thing with Chengdu Hunters is that they're so inconsistent, and I think they will probably be inconsistent again, but not as bad as their previous seasons. So I think Leave and Kaneki will be good, but I almost want to put him, I don't know, B and C is pretty close, honestly. Maybe C, because if I was going to take a DPS duo, I'd probably take I'm 37 and Valentine over this, but I'm not saying they're bad in the slightest. I think they're going to be very good. Okay, Dallas Fuel. The Dallas Fuel. This is an instant A to me, not an S. It's basically the Paris Eternal lineup. I think it'll be almost the exact same. I don't see them being S tier at all. There may be one flexibility issue, which is Tracer, and that's really it. They have Doha, which I think will have some playtime here and there if it ever comes to a Sombra meta for sure. But I think the main DPS duo we will be seeing is XZ and Sparkle, previously just from Paris Eternal. XZ is one of the best hitscan players in the league. We saw that last year. Sparkle, not insanely flexible player, but he plays the heroes that majority of the time are actually meta, I would say. So Sparkle, XZ, nothing much really to say. They're exact same from last season. I think they'll come in almost the exact same with a little bit, be a little bit better, with a full Korean lineup with Fearless as well, with maybe Jexay Repel could help them out a little bit more. Maybe Jexay Fielder, I would hope. But I think XE and Sparkle are still going to be insanely top tier DPS duo for sure. Okay, what was the next one we have? Florida Mayhem. Nothing much really changes. I don't think Checkmate is going to get a lot of playtime here. I think they're going to be exact same for me, A. Especially next season. We don't know how OG is going to turn out on this team, because if OG doesn't perform the best, they may also look weaker as well. But these guys still look the same. Also, chat, keep this in mind. Currently, I do not have them planned to be in order, but I may change that later and put them in order. But we'll see where this goes. This is all just like an in-tier list. But BQB and Yaki, still top tier performers. I think they'll be the same next season, even if OG fails, but not by a lot though. I think even if OG didn't do the best, it'd still be A tier. BQB, hopefully he does perform like he did last season to this next season, because he performed really well on all the hit scans he played. Yeah, Vyaki, one of the best flex DPS players in the league for sure. Probably top 10, I would guess, but I don't know. There's so many good flex DPS players in the league, and especially all time. So Yaki, BQB, nothing much has also changed here. They're both insanely good DPS players and will be hopefully A tier, maybe S tier if OG perform as well. Then we have, if I'm correct how you say his name, is Choi Sawan and Eileen. I wrote this duo down because this is the duo they used in the tournament, most recent one, I think. These guys looked good. Choi Sawan and Eileen looked really good. Eileen has been one of the best DPS players as well since Season 2. Consistent performances on all the roles he plays. Choi Sawan comes in as a rookie. Looked good already in the tournament, I will say. Now it comes to where we have to rank him, because A tier may get stacked, honestly. And I don't want A tier to be fully stacked. So I kind of want to put him B, but like Eileen is really good. I have to put him B. These guys are pretty good, but when I look at A tier, I think A tier may be a tiny bit better. But anything's possible. Choice of one, Eileen, both insanely good. These guys could be moved up to A, but as it stands right now, if I put them in the A, I think A will be even more stacked, and we don't want that. But anything could happen. But we'll see who the actual DPS do. I think it'll still be Choice of one and Eileen, because they used this duo throughout the entire tournament. Anything's possible though. Anything could change. We know, if my Kaylee being in there with double hit scam metas, that could come through. But I will be honest, have not seen a lot where I'm fully impressed with Joyce One with his flexibility, but I know he has been solid what I've seen in contenders and also the most recent tournament, I will say. Then we have the Hangzhou Spark, Shy and Architect. This is the duo they used in the tournament as well, the Shanghai Masters tournament. I instantly want to put him as B. Is B a hot take? Because Shy, obviously we can't critique a lot of it on the tournament, but Shy looked all right. He didn't look top tier. That was probably their first game since then. And Architect still was a solid flex DPS player, I will say. On the Shock, he was insane because he was on the Shock. Spark went down. His kind of skill went down, but that kind of happens when you switch teams, I should say. So Shy, if he performs like he's been doing in like the World Cup and also contenders, they're just going to dominate. But if Shy does perform. If Shy does perform at those high tier levels, they could dominate. Same thing goes with Architect. This team's looking really different, I would say the Hangzhou Spark is. But too many players could be some issues behind the scenes, but we don't know. But Shy and Architect probably going to be B. Else Happy and Dante. I personally think these guys are A tier. Personally. So Happy and Dante, I will say, are kind of an easy A tier for me. Will this team play A tier? No. It's kind of like Atlanta. This is the DPS line is probably their best part. I'd say Houston actually has a pretty solid support line, I will say. But Houston Outlaws DPS with Happy dominating on the charge for seasons now, since season 2. Going to the Houston Outlaws, bringing that hit scan play as well with the Widowmaker, the Tracer, the Kree. One of the best hit scan players as well in the league. And also you have Dante, who has been a top performer on the Houston Outlaws, consistently good, not that many bad games. They really play around Dante, and I think they'll do the same thing with Happy and Dante. So this is definitely a huge upgrade, I would say, to the Houston Outlaws with Happy and Dante on there. They could carry this team to a couple wins. Will that happen? I don't know. The tank line's making me worried a little bit, but Happy and Dante are going to be a tier DPS duo, I feel like, for sure. London Spitfire, Shax and Blase. Shax is a top tier hit scan player. Blase has been on really bad teams and not been able to prove himself, but he looked good in the Steel Series tournament. I will say he did not look bad. He did not look bad at all. He looked good on the May, right? I think he played the May. Oh, I can't believe I'm forgetting. He looked good on the Sombra too. I remember him playing the Sombra. He looked solid on the Sombra. I think Shax and Blase are actually going to be a pretty solid DPS duo coming in. Now, where do I rank them? See, it makes it look like I'm ranking Leave and Konecki on the same level as Shax and Blase, but I'm really not, because I think they're actually going to be pretty good coming in the next season. C tier maybe low B. I don't know about B, because Blase's there and he hasn't really proved. It almost feels like he hasn't proved himself yet, honestly. Because like we've seen Blase play Doom, which is his best hero. Brig was really good for him. He had a decent Genji. It was all right. He had a good Pharah. But I do think this next season for London is going to be a really good year for him, even though this team's probably going to be pretty bad once again. Blase's been on really bad teams. He looked good in contenders, but that's been so long now, so it's hard to really bring that up. But Shax and Blase, I think, are going to be a pretty solid DPS duo, I feel like. But I think this will be good. You know, we have Chengdu Hunters, who is really inconsistent of a team, and not just everyone, just the team feels really inconsistent. Then you have Shax and Blase. Shax is a top tier performer, but Blase still needs to prove himself. He's looked bad almost every season. Birdring and Kevster. See, I was gonna put him A, but I thought about something really quick about Birdring apparently not playing the game a lot, because Deepe said that. So I kind of like don't know if I want to put him A, but they look good still. They still look good. They still sound like they're doing good. Kevster's still a top tier performer. We saw that in the tournament as well. S tier, I don't know. Birdring's still there. Birdring's still there, so I don't know if I'm gonna put him S tier. I'll put him A tier. Now, will it come back to me and haunt me? Probably, but I'm gonna go with the safe bet and put A tier. I'm gonna put him A tier because Birdring is good, but I don't know if he is insanely S tier just yet. He had those moments last year for sure. Kevster is definitely an S tier player, if not near it. So I'm gonna be safe with it right now. I'm gonna put him A. I'm gonna be safe with it. They're really flexible. This could be the best year Gladiators has had because of this DPS duo, also the tank duo, and almost everything Gladiators has this year. I'm gonna be safe with it and put him A tier. I'm just gonna do it. I know A tier is stacked, but DPS is so stacked this year. It's crazy how stacked DPS is this year. Now we have Decay and Assassin. Now I want to put this one S tier. Now I think if I put this one S tier, Glads has to put that be a S tier, right? Because Decay has proved every season that I may have to put Glads S tier now. Decay has been one of the best hits game players since he's joined in season 2. Assassin has looked like one of the best flex DPS players and contenders that got picked up really late. One of the best players. Assassin, one of the best players and contenders as well. With actually how Justice looked, I know Assassin didn't get that much playtime. It was Decay and Jerry because of all this, the comp that they were playing. But Decay and Assassin, I think, will be one of the best DPS duos, I should say, coming into next season. I feel like personally. Now, will that make me have to move Gladiators up later? Probably, but I think I'm going to stick with that one for now. I think Decay is going to hardcore carry this team. Also, you have Mag and Fury. Justice is just going to be good all around, I feel like personally. New York Excelsior, Guangzhou, and Ivy. I think this is one of the best parts of the NYXL, honestly. Guangzhou has been one of the best DPS players, and you have Ivy, one of the best flex DPS players in the league, I should say. High A, I think. I do not think NYXL's DPS duo is high A. I do think B, though. I do think B. Guangzhou has really proved himself in contenders numerous times. I don't know his full flexibility on all the hit scans. I know he plays a good Tracer. I know he plays Kree, Widow, and Ashe. That's all I know. I'll put him B, though. Ivy is just insanely good from Philadelphia Fusion. He showed moments on Toronto, but completely different team. Honestly, was one of the best flex DPS players last season, I should say. What's next? Paris Eternal, Naga, and Onigod. See, I'm leaning towards C too, but I'm still thinking maybe you need to balance it out and put him D. But C. Who's the other T? Oh, Tsuna looked good in the tournament as well. Yeah, let's put him C. Naga will still be one of the, hopefully a good, I don't want to say one of the better, but one of the good flex DPS next season. I think it's going to be hard for him to compete with the rest of the league, I should say. Onigod, he's already proved himself on the Dallas Fuel. Obviously, he's going to be pulled back a little bit more because of the Paris Eternal. But I think he'll still have nice performances here and there. Same thing goes with Naga. And also Tsuna, that's how you say his name correctly. I'm always confused on how to say his name. But Tsuna really impressed me in the tournament. That's the Tsuna I wanted to see on Vancouver Titans. Unfortunately, ping's a huge issue. But he proved himself, I should say, in that tournament. I think the DPS duo is going to be fine, or the DPS line, I should say, is going to be fine on the Paris Eternal. Everything else still kind of worries me, but I think the DPS duo maybe C tier up, because they honestly look solid in the Steel Series tournament, but that's not a lot to go off of, obviously. Carpe and EQO, there's a leak right now that they may get Rascal, but does that really change where they go? I think if they got Rascal, instant S tier. Instant. But the thing is, they're playing in APAC region now. I don't know if that really changes that much. Carpe is still one of the best hit scan DPS players. EQO's still there. He's still, honestly, even though he was benched last season, still one of the better flex DPS players. He didn't get a lot of playtime last year, even though he did play in the Genji meta. Looked really good. But I think if they even got Rascal still, if that, Halo's leaked it, I think Rascal and Carpe will be definite S tier. But Carpe and EQO still be S tier. This is the DPS duo going into it. I think any meta is really good for them. They proved that in Season 1 and 2. 3, the Genji meta really helped EQO. He's still very flexible. I think a lot of people forgot about that. So I'm excited to see what they do in the APAC region. I do think, though, that Rascal will get signed to this team and really help out the Philadelphia Fusion by a lot. The San Francisco Shock, I know I put Narrow down, but honestly, whatever they run is gonna be good, right? Let's give them some respect here, right? Where's the justice at? Where's the justice? Striker, Narrow, Glister, Striker, Glister, whatever they run is gonna be good. Like Striker, honestly, I would say is probably the best DPS player in the league right now. I would say you saw that all from last season. Same thing goes to Season 2, and if you want to bring up his Boston Uprising days in Season 1, straight up one of the best, or if not the best DPS player in the league. You have Narrow, who will finally prove himself. Also, thank you, Luke the Lad, for the follow. Narrow, who's finally going to prove himself on this team, being coached under Krusty, Agape, and Kasores. He's going to look really top tier. Then you have Glister, who's going to look top tier as well on this team. We'll finally get to see him shine on the Shock. Hopefully we get to see Tayo. I love to see him play. Probably won't get to play any playtime, though. Hopefully he gets traded during the season. I think no matter what they run, it's still going to be S tier. I think we will see a lot of Striker Glister, Striker Narrow. Heck, maybe we'll see Striker Tayo at some point. I think they're all going to be really good. I really do think so. Now we have Seoul Dynasty, and this is the one I instantly wanted to put A tier. I think you could definitely put him S tier for some people. Fitz has really proved himself in the most recent tournament. He looked really good, actually. Same thing last season. He got really supported well from the support duo. It was Toby and Bedosin, occasionally Creative. Really looked good. I think we'll see that again with Creative looking insanely good potentially this next season. You have Prophet, still one of the best players in the league, I would say, of all time. And very flexible. I think this will be a better season for them. Now that they got an off tank that they will use, absolutely, they will definitely use 2U. They have Creative, who looks insanely top tier. You have Onmo that will really fit this team. I think this DPS duo could potentially be S tier, but it's like a thing I want to be safe with it and put them in A tier. Their consistency scares me. That's why I'm putting them in A tier, because we don't know how it's going to work out. But I do think the moves they made, Onmo, you have Creative full time now. You have 2U. I'm going to put them A. But I do think this DPS duo could potentially be S tier, though. These guys look good coming in the next season. Then we have Lip and Fleta. They can always change this, whatever. Kind of like the Shock. They have a lot of DPS players. Nothing's going to change with these guys. They didn't make that many changes because they didn't really need to. It was still this DPS duo in the tournament as well. But Fleta, really flexible. He plays almost everything in the meta. Ursa won't get any playtime over this guy. If he does, they're probably going against a weaker team, or Fleta's sick. That's it. Fleta, one of the best players in the league. One of the most flexible players in the league. Lip, one of the better hit scan players in the league. Also on top of this, one of the best Sombras, if not the best Sombra. Very fast ult charge. They still have DM too. Like, DM's still there, and I think DM will actually have a lot more playtime, honestly. So DM Fleta, Lip Fleta, there's going to be a top tier DPS duo with Moon, with Fade on this roster. I think they're all going to be good. Toronto Defiant, Hisu and Nice B tier. I do think Hisu and Nice are going to be a solid DPS duo. I don't think they're going to be top tier for sure. Hisu was honestly one of the better hitscan players last season. And then you have Nice, who has to prove himself this season. I think he will. He's one of the better, I don't want to say better, we haven't seen that yet. He's one of the flexible DPS players in the league, I will say. Nice really is. Nice, very flexible in the league. I think he will be. He plays Tracer. He plays all the hit scans and projectile heroes. Then you have Hisu, like I said already. Very flexible in all the hit scans. He can play some projectiles. Didn't see it a lot, though. But I think these guys are going to be pretty solid, I will say, all around. Toronto Defiant, I will say. The Vancouver Titans. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say D or F. I know that. But I disagree. I'm putting them C. Because Taro, even though we haven't seen him play since 2019, his upgrade, this Taro being there is a upgrade all around. They don't have to force Dalton on flex DPS. Dalton's going to play his hit scan and just be one of the best hit scan DPS players potentially next season. He has one of the better tracers, one of the better widows, Krees, very good hit scan player all around. Then you have Taro coming in, which I'm hearing that Taro is looking good. Taro is looking really good, and I think that's going to come through. Like Dalton Taro. Dalton already is just a top hit scan player. Honestly, he really is. And I think that's going to be it for the list right there. I know no one's in D. I know no one's in F, but can we really put anyone here in D and F? I'm looking at Paris Eternal, but that's it. Paris Eternal going to D, but that's really it. Or London. I don't think any DPS players should go to D or F, personally. This is not in order, by the way. Putting this once again, people who are skipping at the end of the video. I know some people do that. It's all just in a tier.